Welcome to Bookish Mind, Season '09, Episode '01, where we kick off our journey into John C. Maxwell's transformative book, How Successful People Think, by asking, what if the key to unlocking extraordinary success lies not just in what you think, but how widely you dare to see? Today, we're diving deep into John C. Maxwell's, well, really insightful book, How Successful People Think. Our mission here is to explore Maxwell's core claim that success isn't really just about your IQ or where you came from, it's fundamentally about how you think. And here's the really exciting bit. He argues this isn't some fixed talent, it's a skill, something anyone can actually learn and develop.
That's exactly right. And for this first deep dive, we're going to really zero in on what Maxwell presents as the foundation, which is big picture thinking. Think about it like focusing just on one single tree versus stepping back and seeing the whole forest. Big picture thinking is all about that wider view, understanding the whole situation, the context, the implications. And Maxwell shows how this is, well, absolutely fundamental for success.
Okay, so our goal for this deep dive is clear then. We want to unpack what big picture thinking really involves, why it's so critical, not just nice, but vital for growth. And crucially, we'll look at practical ways you can start cultivating it in your own life. Like starting today, let's get into it. So Maxwell starts the book with this idea that honestly, it makes you pause. Good thinkers are always in demand. And he makes this really sharp distinction. He says, the person who knows how, well, they'll always have a job. But the person who knows why, that's the person who will always be their boss. That really highlights the difference, doesn't it, between just doing tasks and actually grasping the strategy behind them. What does that really imply for us?
It's a huge distinction. It speaks volumes about leverage, When you understand the why, you can adapt, you can innovate, you can lead. You're not just following orders. And Maxwell connects this why thinking to some pretty significant benefits. Good thinkers, they solve tough problems, they generate new ideas that build things up, and importantly, they create hope for a better future. It's interesting how he even links it to personal resilience. He brings up history, noting how some leaders, well, they took advantage of people not thinking critically. Maxwell's core message seems to be that developing your thinking gives you this amazing internal freedom. Control, really. You learn to rule yourself no matter what's happening outside.
That idea of thinking as self-governance, wow, that's powerful. And this is where it gets really exciting for everyone listening. Maxwell says he spent 40 years studying successful people. And despite all their differences, the common thread wasn't what they knew, but how they approached thinking. And the thrilling part, he says, is this thinking process. It can be learned. Change your thinking, change your life. Simple as that. But he's quick to point out it's not like flipping a switch, right? It's not automatic.
No, not at all. He tackles this head on in why you should change your thinking. He lays out 3 key points that really challenge how we might normally think about this. First, like you said, change thinking is not automatic. We often wait for that bolt of lightning, that great idea. But Maxwell says good ideas don't just find you. You have to actively go looking for them. You have to prime the pump, so to speak. Second, and this might sound a bit daunting at first, change thinking is difficult. Even Einstein, one of the greatest thinkers ever, reportedly said, thinking is hard work. That's why so few do it.
Yeah, this isn't about quick, off-the-cuff thoughts. It takes real, intentional effort, deep work.
Okay, so it's not automatic and it's difficult. Why bother? Why put in all that effort? Because, and Maxwell is really passionate about this, changed thinking is absolutely worth the investment. There's that great quote from Napoleon Hill. More gold has been mined from the thoughts of man than has ever been taken from the earth. Maxwell builds on that with this fantastic analogy. He says, think about other investments. A gold mine eventually runs out, right? Stocks can crash. But a human mind that's developed its thinking ability, he calls it a diamond mine that never runs out. It's this inexhaustible source of value you carry inside you, a priceless asset, always generating returns. It totally reframes the difficult. It's not a roadblock. It's a sign of the incredible value locked behind it.
That diamond mine analogy, that really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? The difficulty isn't a stop sign, it's more like a high-value inside sign. Okay, so knowing it's tough but worth it, how do we actually do it? How do we become better thinkers? Maxwell gives us a roadmap, doesn't he? 6 recommendations for making this an ongoing process.
He does indeed. Let's maybe group the first few as kind of fueling your mind. First up, expose yourself to good input. You got to fill the tank, right? Good thinkers are always consuming quality material. This means actively reading diverse things, checking out trade magazines, listening to, podcasts like this one or educational tapes, and really importantly, spending time with other good thinkers. And Maxwell adds a key tip. When an idea grabs you, write it down. Keep it somewhere you'll see it. It helps prime your mind. And that leads perfectly into the second step. Expose yourself to good thinkers. This is huge. Your environment matters. Maxwell talks about how he deliberately surrounds himself with people who challenge him, who think, well, his wife Margaret, his close friends, his executives. He lives by that proverb. Sharp people sharpen one another, just as iron sharpens iron. Who you hang out with intellectually really shapes your own thinking capacity. And the third step, kind of rounding out this fueling phase, is choose to think good thoughts. This is all about being intentional, making thinking a real discipline, not just something that happens if you have spare time. He tells this great story about Dan Cathy, the president of Chick-fil-A. Cathy literally schedules his thinking time.
Schedules it, like in his calendar.
Yeah, half a day every 2 weeks, a full day every month, 2 or 3 full days a year, just for thinking. He says it helps him keep the main thing. The main thing. It's about deliberately cutting through the noise, making space for deep thought, and again, capturing those thoughts in writing.
A dedicated thinking schedule. Wow, that's commitment. It really underlines that thinking isn't just passive. Okay. Building on that fuel, Maxwell's fourth point moves us towards action. Act on your good thoughts. He warns that ideas have a short shelf life. You got to move on them before they fizzle out. There's that quote from the World War I pilot Eddie Rickenbacker. I can give you a 6-word formula for success. Think things through, then follow through. An idea without action is just, well, potential energy, right? And the fifth point builds on that action piece. Allow your emotions to create another good thought. This one's interesting. He's not saying wait until you feel like thinking. No. You start with the discipline, the hard work. But once you're actually doing it, he finds emotions can kick in and create this sort of mental momentum, that buzz from a breakthrough. It can actually spark more ideas. It becomes a positive cycle. And finally, number 6, to keep it going, repeat the process. He warns against being a one-hit wonder. People who have one great idea and try to coast on it forever, they often stagnate. Real lasting success comes from constantly going back to that mountain of gold, not trying to stretch one little nugget for decades. It's about continuous effort. Keep digging.
That continuous mining idea is spot on. And it flows right into Maxwell's 5-stage process for actually finding and developing those thoughts. Taking them from a little spark all the way to something real. It's like a journey for your ideas. Stage 1, find a place to think your thoughts. Now, this isn't necessarily about having a fancy office. It's more about a designated mental space, often linked to a physical spot. For Maxwell, maybe it's the car, a plane, maybe even just keeping a notepad by the bed for middle-of-the-night ideas. The key is making it a habit. Regularly going to these places wherever you feel reflective, and crucially, getting those thoughts down on paper before they vanish. Give your thoughts a home. Okay, stage 2, find a place to shape your thoughts. Ideas rarely show up perfectly polished, right? They need work. They need shaping. This is where you get critical. You ask tough questions, challenge your own assumptions, refine the idea. And a huge part of this, writing. Like Isai Hayakawa said, learning to write is learning to think. Writing forces clarity. Maxwell points out this shaping process actually brings out other qualities too, like humor, humility, creativity, passion. It clarifies the idea and your connection to it.
Right, you have to wrestle with it a bit. And once you've shaped it yourself, Maxwell says stage 3 is find a place to stretch your thoughts. This is about bringing other people in. He admits he used to try and do it all himself, from start to finish. But he learned you go much farther with a team.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he even has this kind of formula. The right thought plus the right people and the right environment at the right time for the right reason, the right result. It's about realizing that other perspectives can stretch your idea way beyond what you could manage alone. I know some of my best insights come when someone else pokes holes in my initial idea.
Absolutely, the constructive friction.
Exactly. Then, stage 4, find a place to land your thoughts. Love this imagery. C.D. Jackson said, great ideas need landing gear as well as wings. An idea floating around in theory. It doesn't do much. The real power is in applying it.
Like Einstein's relativity, just a theory until it led to things like nuclear reactors.
Right. So Maxwell says you need to land your idea with 3 groups. First, yourself. Does it align with your integrity? Do you really believe it? Can you live it? Second, key players, the influencers who can help make it happen. And third, those most affected, getting that reality read from people on the ground. And finally, stage 5, find a place to fly your thoughts. This brings it full circle. The Nobel laureate Henri Louis Bergson put it so well, think like a man of act like a man of thought. Productive thinking isn't just mental gymnastics. It has to connect to action. It's about making good thinking a lifelong habit so your well-shaped, well-landed ideas can actually take flight and make a difference. After all that work, creating, shaping, stretching, landing, letting it fly should be the fun part.
It's a really complete process, isn't it? From spark to impact. Okay, let's bring it back now to our main focus for today. Big picture thinking. That quote from David Schwartz really nails it. People are not measured by the size of their thinking. Hmm. Big picture thinking isn't just about thinking more, it's about thinking wider. It brings wholeness, maturity, perspective. Maxwell uses the analogy of making the frame of a picture bigger. Suddenly, you see more context, more connections. He gives examples like Jack Welch at GE, looking at the lifetime value of a customer, not just one sale. Or parents understanding potty training is just one small phase in raising a child. It's always about that bigger, more expansive view. According to Maxwell, people who consistently think this way tend to share four key characteristics. These are habits, really, that help them see the whole forest. First, they learn continually. They're never done learning. They're always hungry for new experiences, new places, new books, new people, new skills. This constant learning lets them connect the unconnected, see patterns others miss. Maxwell even talks about reviewing his own calendar each morning, looking specifically for learning opportunities in his day. Second characteristic, they listen intentionally. This is such a powerful way to broaden your horizons by truly absorbing what others know. Maxwell tells that story about having dinner with some NFL coaches. Instead of talking, he just asked questions, like 100 questions about teamwork. And he told his son-in-law later, listening has taught me a lot more than talking. Big picture thinkers recognize they don't have all the answers and actively listen to learn from others' expertise. Third, they look expansively. It's natural to see things from our own viewpoint first, right? Henry David Thoreau said something like, many an object is not seen because it doesn't fall within our intellectual ray. Big picture thinkers fight this tendency. They consciously try to step outside their own bubble to see things through other people's eyes. Maxwell uses the example of a conference the attendee worries about parking and their seat while he, as the speaker, is thinking about lighting, sound, the whole audience experience.
It's about realizing who you are shapes what you see, and then intentionally trying to broaden that who. And fourth, these thinkers tend to live completely. There's that quote from Montaigne. The value of life lies not in the length of days, but in the use we make of them. Big picture thinking helps you live a fuller life. Why? Because it expands your world, your experiences. It helps you achieve more, handle challenges better because you see the wider context, and even become more tolerant because you appreciate the complexity of situations and people.
It's definitely clear how this bigger perspective pays off personally. But let's drill down a bit more. Why do you, listening right now, need this skill in your daily life, your work? Maxwell gives 6 specific reasons. I kind of see them falling into 2 buckets: leadership and practical stuff. First, on the leadership side, big picture thinking allows you to lead. Seriously, find me a truly effective leader who isn't a big picture thinker. It's rare. Leaders have to see the vision first. They need to size up complex situations, considering all the angles. They need to paint a clear picture of where things are headed, show how it connects to where you've been, and know when to act like Churchill's idea of seizing the finest hour. Second, related to that, it keeps you on target. You know that saying, he that is everywhere is nowhere? Big picture thinking provides the why that focuses your what. Alvin Toffler said it well. You've got to think about big things while you're doing small things so that all the small things go in the right direction. Without that overview, you could be busy doing completely the wrong things. And third, still in this sort of leadership interaction space, it allows you to see what others see. This is absolutely fundamental for good relationships with clients, in a marriage, with your kids. It's that ability to genuinely put yourself in their shoes, to look beyond your own agenda and understand their perspective, their history, their concerns. That empathy is incredibly powerful.
Moving more to the practical application side. The fourth reason Maxwell gives is that big picture thinking promotes teamwork. Think about it. If everyone on a team is just stuck in their own little silo, focused only on their task, the whole thing falls apart, right? But when people understand the overall goal, the why behind what they're doing, how their piece fits in, collaboration just flows much better. The whole team becomes more effective. Fifth, it keeps you from being caught up in the mundane. Let's face it, every job, every life has its share of routine tasks, things that aren't exactly thrilling. Big picture thinkers don't get bogged down by the daily grind because they keep the ultimate goal in sight. Maxwell puts it quite bluntly. The person who forgets the ultimate is a slave to the immediate. It keeps you focused on what truly matters. And finally, number 6. Big picture thinking helps you to chart uncharted territory. You know that old phrase, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. That's the opposite of this. Innovators, pioneers, the people who create new things, new paths, they see those bridges in their minds long before they physically exist. To really break new ground, you absolutely have to look beyond the immediate and grasp that larger vision.
Okay, so we get what it is and why it's so important. Now, the million-dollar question, how do we actually get better at it? Maxwell offers 4 practical suggestions for developing this skill. First one is interesting. Don't strive for certainty. Seems a bit weird, right? But big picture thinkers are okay with ambiguity. They don't need everything to fit neatly into boxes right away. They can hold multiple, maybe even conflicting ideas in their head at the same time. So to practice this, you need to get comfortable with complexity. Let ideas mingle without rushing to judge or categorize them. Second, learn from every experience. And this isn't just celebrating the wins, it's maybe even more important to learn from the failures, the setbacks. You have to stay teachable. Actively pull lessons out of everything that happens. The more varied your experience is, good and bad, the wider your perspective becomes. The more dots you have to connect. So try things, reflect, learn.
Third, and this builds nicely on learning from your own life, gain insight from a variety of people. Big picture thinkers know they don't know it all. Their own experience is limited. So they actively seek advice, perspective, counsel from others, customers, employees, mentors, leaders. But Maxwell adds a caution. Be selective. Talk to people who really know their stuff, who genuinely care about you, and whose experience is deeper and broader than yours in that specific area. Those are the valuable counselors. And the fourth suggestion from Maxwell is really empowering. Give yourself permission to expand your world. This is about pushing back against the status quo. Society, sometimes even our own habits, can try to keep us in familiar boxes. Thinking big picture often means choosing to go a different route, explore new territory intellectually, professionally, personally, break new ground, find new world, and when your world does get bigger, celebrate it. Don't forget there's always more to learn, more to see. Maxwell's closing thought on this is perfect. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep looking at the big picture.
That really sums it up beautifully, doesn't it? This whole deep dive into the start of Maxwell's How Successful People Think really lands on the power of big picture thinking. We've seen it. It's not just some vague idea. It's a practical, learnable skill, a discipline, really. And it has the potential to genuinely transform your work, your relationships, your whole life. It's about deliberately widening your lens to see more, understand more, and ultimately achieve more.
Absolutely. And maybe a good final thought for everyone listening comes from Maxwell's own thinking question related to this chapter. It's a great daily check-in. Am I thinking beyond myself and my world so that I process ideas with a holistic perspective? Just asking yourself that regularly can be a powerful nudge.
That's a great challenge. So we challenge you listening now. Identify just one concrete action step you can take this week based on what we've talked about. Maybe it's finding your own thinking place and actually using it for 15 minutes. Or maybe it's intentionally truly listening to someone with a completely different perspective than yours. Or maybe it's just giving yourself permission to explore something new you've been putting off, to consciously expand your world, even in a small way. Remember, by consciously choosing how you think, starting with that big picture, you really can begin to unlock extraordinary success.